Okay, and welcome back. This is going to be chapter 4. We're going to continue on with our Army infographic factual index, and we're going to jump right back into it. In this chapter, we are going to cover some things like text wrapping and work with a little bit of Illustrator and see how those two programs go hand in hand with each other when creating a design. So let's get into it and let me present. There we go. And we're going to jump right back into InDesign over here. And a couple of things I noticed from our last chapter is I'm going to give our little bit of tidbits of information on the right here, just a little bit more design flair, just to make them a little more interesting, because, you know, the whole point of a factual index is to put emphasis on certain items to make it more interesting to the reader so they can understand the information. So where it says 28.9 and 2500 here, I'm just going to change the color. So I triple click this one, and I'm going to change the color to one of our samples. And I might change it to this brown that's used for the rectangle for the subtitle, just to kind of keep the theme and match it. And you can really effectively choose any color you want. This is your project, but I'm just kind of separating with color hierarchy here, just to give it a little bit more interest. And what I'm going to do with the actual descriptions of the tidbits of information here, I'm going to actually center align these sentences here, just to make it a little bit more symmetrical. And I'm just going to select all the text for the description, center align, and center align. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And one other thing, I'm going to actually take this bit of information down here, and I'm actually going to turn off the background color. We're going to keep the text just as a normal registration black and keep it a clean, no fill rectangle. So I'm going to select this rectangle here, and I'm going to actually notice my fill swatch, and I'm going to select none. Now my text actually disappeared, and the reason being is because I changed that font to white. So all I have to do is just triple click in here. There's my text. And what I can do is come up here and change it to what is known as just change it to registration, or you can do black. There we go. Just give it a little more clean look. That's one of the benefits about using InDesign, is that it's infinitely customizable. You can go back and you can rearrange things, and you can tweak colors. It's one of the best parts of this program, and why it's such a good layout, especially for publishing. Okay, cool. So we're going to continue on, and we're going to build on the left-hand side here. So let's go ahead and find our type tool, and we're going to make another text box about yay big. And what we're going to do for this text box is we are going to put in the information larger than Vermont. So that's going to be the Army state fact. Larger than Vermont is going to be this text right up here, and the font is going to be Century Gothic, bold, sticking with that theme. And it's going to be 20 points in size. And I'm just going to paste it in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and center align that as well. And I'll just bring up just some of the dead space in that frame. And I might move this box just a couple of clicks up. Cool. And this is just basically going to represent the information that we're going to put on below it. So I'm going to go back up to File, and I'm going to go to Place. So we're going to place a new image here, and this image on the larger than the Vermont is going to be called Bases 01. So Bases 01 is going to be our target for this. We're going to click on Open. Again, as you know, that gets us our loaded cursor. And what I'm going to do is from the bottom here of this text frame, I'm going to click, hold, and drag it out to kind of match the frame on the right, the edge, and let go. And that's looking pretty good. What I might want to do is actually make this a little bit smaller, just so it's not so large. And this is going to be great because I'm going to show you how you can resize an image without having to do a lot of manual work. So it's a little bit large. So what I'm going to do is go in the corners here. This is our main frame here. And again, this is the frame itself. And if I double click here, notice it turns orange because this is the picture. I'm just going to click on the gray here, click one time, and I'm going to change the frame size. I'm going to hold down Shift, go in the diagonal corners here and go up a little bit and go up a little bit. And notice it's cropping it out, right? It's cropping it out, which is fine for now. And I'm just going to kind of center this under larger than the Vermont. And maybe I'll just make it just a tiny bit larger, something like that. Now, this is very common. You know, I just resized the frame and you can see that it cropped out some of that image there. But check this little hack out. What I'm going to do is right click. And in the middle of this menu here is that fitting option. And if I look at fitting, I'm going to fit content proportionally. This is going to be the magic one because it's going to not skew your image and it's going to fit it to essentially the frame size. So I'll click on this one. And there we have it. So now it's not cropped anymore and it's not skewed. And it looks good. Okay. And I might just take a couple of clicks to the left here. Again, this image was Bases 01. So I guess now is a good time. I'll look at my layers panel and there it is. And I'm just going to move Bases 01 to the images subfolder, or should I say parent folder. Cool. Okay, so now what we're going to do is create our high interesting fact underneath here. So we're just going to build out the left side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a rectangle on this one. So instead of just making a type tool text area, I'm going to go ahead and create a rectangle. And I'm going to make this rectangle from the left margin here just about yay big. This is going to be kind of the last bit of information on the left-hand side here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing we were doing before with our rectangles. I'm going to make this a no stroke. And I'm going to fill it with a color that we sampled earlier. So I'll go up here, look at my sample colors. And I'm going to use the darker brown in this instance here to match the theme. There we go. And just for a little bonus, just because I'm not a huge fan of the very sharp corners of the normal rectangle, I'm going to click on this rectangle here and I'm going to go up to the Allen wrench tool. It's not called that. I just refer to it that because it has this one as the default here, the square or straight corner. I'm going to go ahead and change this to rounded just to give it a little bit more of a flair. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some text now in this box. So you already know, we're going to go up to our type tool. And I'm going to click in this rectangle itself. That gives us our blinking cursor. Now, the information that goes along with this is, it starts out with or Hawaii, Maryland, or Massachusetts. So I'm going to go ahead and select this bit of high interesting fact information. It's really what this is. So I'm going to copy all that. And the font for this one is going to be Myriad Pro Regular. There she is. And the size is going to be 13 point. So I just have to do one click on the up arrow right there. And I'll go ahead and paste that in. Now, because I use that dark color, right, I'm going to have to change my font to give it a little bit of separation when it comes to contrast. So I'm going to make my text a paper, which is just pure white. Something like that. I like that. Now, as you know, what happens when you add text to a rectangle is that it's going to ride the edges of it. So we're going to give it a little bit of that inset spacing. So with this rectangle text selected here, we're going to hit Control and Bravo, and that's going to bring our text frame options. And I'm just going to give this a one click up on inset spacing here. Click on OK. And you can see we have now our padding here. And you can give it more inset spacing if you'd like. It's just the easiest way to do it. It's just so your text won't be right on the edge of a shape or background. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of this dead space in here. And the reason why is because we're actually going to do something called a text wrap. We're going to add an image on top of this, and we're going to wrap the text around it to give it a really cool effect. And actually, the image that we're going to be doing is a state image of Vermont. So let's do that now. I'm just going to click on the gray area here just so I deselect everything. I'm going to go up to File. Let's go back to Place. You already know. By the way, you can just drag and drop your images directly from your file browser or your desktop right into InDesign. It's going to do the same thing as doing a file in Place. So the next image that we're going to use is the one that says Vermont. It's the image. I'm going to click on Open. And there's Vermont. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to click, hold, and drag Vermont about yay big. Again, we can resize this later, but I'm just going to show you what a text wrap actually does. So there's Vermont. Very nice. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically just put Vermont on top, just like that. Now, what's going on here is I have an image on top of text. So clearly it's not going to work because you have something covering basically your text. But this is where the magic of text wrapping comes in. So with Vermont being our selection right here, you can see because of the bounding box, I'm going to go back up to my context bar and I'm going to look at these options right here. So it's next to the Allen wrench tool, little cornering options there. And the text, these are text wrap options right here. There's also a panel that we'll cover later, but this one here is called wraparound bounding box. So it's the second option right here. Let's click on this one. What this is going to do is it's going to wrap the text around an object. It could be an image, it could be a shape, but basically what it's going to do is it's going to make sure that any text that is below it is going to wrap around it. And the bounding box being these anchor points here. Nice, I like it. Now, we have our text wrap going on here, but let's do a little bit more with this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to rotate Vermont just a little bit to give it a little bit more of a design flair. To rotate an image, what you're going to do is just with your selection tool, normal selection tool, hover over one of the corners here, and you'll notice this arrow that kind of goes to two different sides, and just like you see on screen. And what I'm going to do is click, hold, and drag. And notice while I'm dragging here, see how it automatically will contour the text around the image. So I'm going to actually make a little bit of a rotation here. You can actually even see the degrees that you're rotating by in that little box by your cursor. 12 degrees looks mighty fine. So I'll go ahead and do that. And what I'm also going to do is I notice a little bit of Vermont right here is outside of the margin, and we don't want to really have images outside the margin in case they risk getting cut off, especially like a tidbit of information like this. So I'm just going to click to the right a couple of times to bring it in like so, and see how it just automatically will contour that text. Very cool. And you can play around with the rotation and degrees. It's going to be kind of up to you. The one thing I will do is, because we did a text wrap here, notice we got a little hyphenation. So I'm going to triple click the text to select everything. I'm going to roll on over to my paragraph panel and just uncheck hyphenate, just to get rid of those hyphenations there. Not too bad, not too bad at all. So we got a little bit of text wrapping, and we have our effect of larger than Vermont. I may just want to move this image, center it just in between that other H3 is what they would call it, just kind of title for this bit of information. All right, cool. Now, one more thing I want to show you in this one, I want to show you how you can add a little bit of drop shadow. Now, drop shadows, you want to be careful. You don't want to make too much of a drop shadow on your elements, but we're going to add a drop shadow, a tasteful drop shadow to Vermont itself, just to give it a little bit more of a design flair. So you can see that I'm going to make sure that Vermont is selected here. And what I'm going to do is go up to my context bar once again. And here's our text wrap options. And to the left of this, you'll see a little FX button. This FX button, when you click it, will give you all of like almost the same kind of layer style effects like in Photoshop. And these are all raster effects. And I'm going to add a little bit of a drop shadow. It's the first option here. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring up this box right here. And a lot of these options, if you're familiar with Photoshop, come straight from it. So I'm going to turn on or check on preview so I can actually see what's going on under the hood here. Okay. And you can see right off the bat, I have a nice little drop shadow that's underneath Vermont. There's my mouse. Kind of disappeared on me. So this is what's the preview right here. You can see that little bit of drop shadow. Now you can change these options. You can change the blend mode. You can change how opaque your drop shadow is, as well as the distance, the offset, and even the angle of the drop shadow. I'm going to keep all the settings as default. The only thing I'm going to do is change the mode to normal. And what you can do is you can actually change the color as well of your drop shadow. And I'm going to actually double click this little box right here to change the color. And I might change it to paper just to see how that's going to look. Yeah, kind of like that. So you can make it you can make it any color that you want. And you can even change the opacity as well. I might bring the opacity down a little bit to like 50%, just to give it just a little bit. And maybe I'll make the distance bring it in just a little bit by clicking the down arrow a couple of times to make it not such a large drop shadow. And I kind of like the results. I kind of like that preview right there. So what I'm going to do is click on OK. If I'm satisfied with it, and I kind of like that, just a little bit of a highlight. Now is a great time to hit Control and S to save what we have. And I'm going to hit Control and 0 now, just to kind of see the big picture here. And I might even hit W just to see everything without the margins and without the little borders. And it's looking good so far. We just have to build out the right, and we're going to be right as rain. So I'm going to hit W again to toggle my margins back on. And now we're going to create the other bit of information that's going to be some other key statistics when it comes to the US Army. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another rectangle. And I'm going to actually start this rectangle from approximately right here. So kind of like where you see Abraham Lincoln's suit coat right there, kind of like on the left-hand side of these margins. So somewhere in the middle right there. And I'm going to click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to drag, drag, drag all the way till it touches the right margin. I'm going to let go. And we can adjust this later if need be. But as a rectangle, you already know what's going on. I'm going to turn off my stroke. And I'm going to change the color to one of my samples. And for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to use one of the other colors I didn't touch. And I'm going to use this one. It's kind of like a little bit lighter than an olive drab. Because this is going to house a bunch of statistics, and we're even going to add a pie chart. And once we have that rectangle right there, I'm just going to stick with our nice modern design here, and I'm going to change the cornering to rounded. Right. And the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to add our main image element to this side, to this right side. That's going to be the top of this rectangle here. So we'll go up to File. We'll go to our place. Now the image for the soldier is going to be, yep, there it is. It's going to be soldier. Soldier right there. And I'm going to click on Open. Okay, and excellent. And here's our soldier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to make this soldier a little bit big because it's going to be our main image element. So maybe something like that. And then once I bring it in, I can adjust it where I need it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to orientate this soldier. I'm just basically going to flip her so she's facing the other way. And this is another trick on how you can like kind of flip images, or, you know, we already covered rotation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the soldier. And I'm going to find the option that says transform. And transform is up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the options under transform. And I'm going to choose the one that says flip horizontal. And what that's going to do is it's just going to flip the orientation of your image. And there she is. And I may even want to make her just a little bit bigger So I'm going to hold down Shift, go in the diagonal anchors here, click, hold, and drag out a little bit. So my frame is larger. And I'm going to right click again, go to fitting, and fit content proportionally. And that's going to expand your image to match the frame. And I'm just going to line her up kind of like so. So it's just touching the margin right here. And what you can even do is, because I'm not cutting off any of the main image elements here, you can even click a couple of times to kind of offset it a little bit past the margin. Because again, it's not clipping any of the main parts of the image here. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and just do a little bit of housekeeping. So let's look at our layers panel. And what I'm going to do is make sure that that soldier image right here is in our images. And since we're here, I'm going to take this rectangle from the Vermont fact and move it up to images. And I'm going to do the same thing to Vermont.png, just so we have some nice, good organized layers here. Cool. So now let's get to it. Let's go ahead and get some of this information built here. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to create a text area. So I'll get my type tool, and I'm going to make a text box about yay big. There's going to be 3 facts on this rectangle here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new text box. So there's our blinking cursor. And the information for this one is going to be, it's going to be under soldier quick facts. And this text area is going to house soldiers average around 22 gallons of fuel daily in battle, compared to 1 gallon of use during World War II. So I'm going to grab this, copy it, and our font target is going to be Myriad Pro Regular, 14 point is going to be our size, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste it on in. And so here's another interesting fact. So when I pasted it in, notice how it doesn't appear here. And the reason being is because that rectangle that I moved up to images, it's on top. And sometimes you're going to have to put things in different parent layers if you want other things to be visible. So it's not fixed. So if you need to put an image or a shape in a different parent layer so things are visible, sometimes you're going to need to do that. So what I'm going to do is look at my images right here, and the rectangle, that green one that we made, is right here. There's our text. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move that rectangle in the text, and I'll move it underneath the text I just pasted in there so it can show up. Sometimes you're going to have to do that because everything works in the stacking order, just like Photoshop does. So there's our text, and you can see that a little bit of it is cut off. Anytime that you see that little red box with a plus symbol, it just means overset text. So what I can do is I can expand this text box a little bit to show all the text. I might move it down just a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grab the image or the little icon that correlates with this piece of information, this being 22 gallons. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to Place once again. And I'm going to go ahead and find the image that says gas can. And I'm going to use the Illustrator file. We have a PNG file here, but I'm going to use the Illustrator file for this one, just to show you that it can support pretty much any type of image that you can imagine, or file type from Illustrator. I'm going to click on this one, hit open. There's our loaded cursor. Click, hold, and drag this icon, and there's our 22. And I might just move the shoulder a little bit to the right so it's not covering the gas can. There we go. So we have this 22 right here, and there's the information that goes along with it. And if you're feeling fancy, you can even rotate, just like I showed you earlier. You can rotate that image. Just make sure that the frame is selected, not just the image itself. And I might just give it just a little bit of rotation like that. Looking good. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and I'm going to actually make a copy. I'm going to make a copy of this text right here. And just to refresh your memory, to make a copy, what you're going to do is select the text or any object that you want to copy. You're going to hold down that Alt key. And you're going to click, hold, and drag. And you're going to let go of the mouse after you move, and then let go of Alt. And that's just going to make a perfect copy of it, because it's going to be the same font and the same size for the next bit of information. Speaking of that, I'm going to jump into our data sheet here. And the fact that goes along with this one is going to be women were first allowed to become soldiers during World War II. So this is going to be that text. I'm going to copy it and go ahead and select all this and paste it in. Same font, same size. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this text a little bit to the right here. See that we have a little bit of space. Here's our soldier right here. I'm going to offset this text a little bit to the right, like that, because we're going to put our other icon over here. We have an icon here. We're going to put an icon there. And you can adjust this how you see fit. I'm going to say that something like this works out nice. So I'm just maximizing our space usage here. And now what I'm going to find is I'm going to find the image. I'm going to go back up to File and Place. And the image that I'm going to be looking for this one is going to be the one that says female soldier. I'm going to click on Open. There it is. And I'm just going to click, hold, and drag this icon to the left here of that text. And it's going to look like that. Very cool. And again, we can go back and adjust and make any placement adjustments that we need. Okay, cool. And now we have one bit of information in this soldier quick facts little block here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another copy of this text right here. Hold down Alt, click, hold, and drag. And I'm going to drag this text to this area. Let go of my mouse, let go of Alt. There's our copy. Now, the other bit of information that's going to go on this one is going to be actually, we know what we're going to do with this one. We're going to go ahead and bring it up to the top here, because what we're going to do is we're going to make somewhat of a mini subtitle for this block of information. So the subtitle is going to be called Soldier Quick Facts. So Soldier Quick Facts is going to be the text, the kind of like the subtitle for this bit of information here. And the font for this one is going to be Century Gothic Bold. And the size is going to be kind of big. It's going to be a 35 point. And you can see it's being overset text right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just bring it out a little bit. Bring it out a little bit. Soldier quick facts. There we go. Now, this is a great time. Now, what you can do is you can select individual elements and you can move them where you want them, essentially. But let's say you want to select multiple items. What you can do is like click on a frame, hold down the control key, and then click on another frame. Sometimes if it doesn't work, you can select a frame, hold down shift, and then click on another frame, and it's going to make a bigger frame essentially around all the objects that you selected. So that's click, shift, click, and what that's going to do is select multiple objects. And from here, what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to move elements as almost like a group. That's what I'm doing right here with these two elements. The reason why I'm bringing this down a little bit is because I'm going to put this title into this box right here. Very cool. And I might just bring down this text a little bit, bring down this gas can a little bit as well. Cool, I like that. So basically, this is just another block of information that's going to be just an added part of our factual index here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Illustrator, but we'll save that for chapter 5. So I like where we're at right now. Let's go ahead and hit Control and S. And in chapter 5, what we're going to do is cover how to use some elements that we can customize inside of Illustrator and just directly import them into InDesign here. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, however you want to make your colors, even your font, you can do it. It is your project. But I hope to see you in the next one where we're going to finish out and even add a little bit of QR code. So just to touch on what we did was do a little bit of a text wrap. We added even a drop shadow. We learned how to rotate images, and we also learned how to resize images according to their frame size. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one for chapter 5.